There was a time when Italian football didn't just command respect, it demanded fear. It wasn't merely about competing, it was about dictating the rhythm, setting the standards, and shaping the very culture of the sport. Built on a foundation of unbreakable defense and a midfield mastery rooted in the dark arts of tactical warfare, Italy developed a philosophy that was both beautiful and brutal. Their style became so recognizable that it gave birth to the word catenaccio, which translates to doorbolt football, a tactical system that placed immense emphasis on defense. But catenaccio was never just a system, it was a statement. It was the reflection of a nation that took pride in discipline, structure, and the cold elegance of a 1-0 victory. This identity carried Italy to the heights of world football, bringing them 4 World Cups and 2 European Championships. Clubs like AC Milan, Juventus, and Inter Milan reigned supreme in Europe, while legends such as Paolo Maldini, Franco Baresi, Roberto Baggio, Gianluigi Buffon, and Fabio Cannavaro became immortals of the game. Italian football once represented the gold standard. They weren't always the flashiest, but they were almost always the most feared and, more often than not, the most successful. From glory to complacency. Yet the Italy that embodied tactical genius, generational talent, and ruthless resolve is long gone. Today, the Azzurri stand as a shadow of their former selves, often mocked as a disgrace to their once glorious history. The decline is staggering when you realize that the last time Italy even played a World Cup match was in 2014, over a decade ago. And the last time they played a knockout match in the tournament was all the way back in 2006, when they lifted the trophy in Berlin. Fast forward to the present, and Italy still struggles to even qualify for football's biggest stage, battling with nations like Norway and Israel just for a chance to reach the World Cup. How could a country that once wrote football's playbook fall so far behind? To answer this question, we must trace Italy's rise before understanding the depths of its fall. Italian football's dominance began as early as the 1930s, when Italy won back-to-back World Cups in 1934 and 1938. These victories were more than sporting triumphs, they were political tools. Benito Mussolini used them to promote national pride and unity, embedding football into the nation's identity. After World War II, these early successes laid the foundation for Italy's footballing dominance. Over the decades, Serie A rose to prominence, becoming the most competitive and star-studded league in the world by the 1990s. The philosophy of catenaccio evolved into more than a defensive system. It relied on the presence of a sweeper, or libero, who bridged a solid backline with a tightly knit midfield. Rather than pressing relentlessly like Germany or Spain would later do, Italy's system emphasized man-marking and discipline, ensuring defensive solidity while launching devastating counterattacks once possession was regained. For outsiders, it may have seemed slow or even boring, but to Italians it was a masterstroke, a cold, calculated, and ruthlessly effective way to win. This philosophy was stamped into Italy's DNA, and it worked, helping them secure the 1982 World Cup with flair and efficiency. Serie A, the Golden League. During this golden era, Serie A was the undisputed home of the best talent in the world. Legends like Diego Maradona, Michel Platini, Marco van Basten, and Ruud Gullit all graced Italian football, while native stars such as Roberto Baggio, Alessandro Del Piero, and Paolo Maldini became icons. The 1990s were the pinnacle of Italian football. Serie A wasn't just a league, it was a chessboard where tactical battles were fought weekly, watched by millions around the world. AC Milan built one of the greatest dynasties in club history, and Italian clubs consistently dominated European competitions. Even when the era of Maldini, Baresi, and Del Piero began to fade, Italy still proved their mettle, winning the 2006 World Cup through resilience, defensive steel, and midfield genius. But this triumph would mask the cracks forming beneath the surface. What followed was not a slow descent, but a collapse. Success bred complacency. Italy believed their formula of defensive mastery and tactical rigidity would last forever. But football was evolving and Italy was not. While legends like Cannavaro, Gattuso, and Del Piero reached the twilight of their careers, there was no pipeline of young stars ready to replace them. The youth academies that once produced world-class talent lost ground to those in Germany, Spain, and even England. The cracks became painfully clear at the 2010 World Cup, where Italy, the reigning champions, crashed out in the group stage without a single win against Paraguay, Slovakia, and New Zealand. Instead of sparking reform, Italy stayed complacent. Serie A in crisis. At the same time, Serie A itself was collapsing. The Calciopoli match-fixing scandal of 2006 shattered the league's reputation and drove away investment. Italian clubs failed to modernize their stadiums or commercial operations, leaving them unable to compete financially with the Premier League or the new powerhouses of Spain. While English clubs attracted foreign investors and Spanish giants created global brands, Italian football clung to tradition, falling further behind. To younger generations, Serie A seemed outdated and unattractive. Even on the pitch, the once feared Italian style lost its effectiveness. Spain reinvented possession football with tiki-taka, Germany combined youth and pace into a relentless machine, and Italy stagnated. Without the talent to fill its tactical system, the very philosophy that once made them great became a prison. By the 2010s, Italy had entered a full-blown identity crisis. Another group stage exit in the 2014 World Cup confirmed the decline, and then came rock bottom in 2018. For the first time since 1958, Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup, humiliated by a playoff loss to Sweden. Behind the scenes, the Italian Football Federation was in disarray, plagued by frequent leadership changes, lack of vision, and delayed reforms. While nations like Germany rebuilt their entire football structure after early setbacks, Italy chose to patch holes rather than rebuild. Youth development remained poor, clubs preferred aging veterans or cheap foreign imports, and fewer Italian players made the leap to top clubs abroad. The illusion of redemption at Euro 2020. Ironically, while Italian managers like Carlo Ancelotti, Antonio Conte, and Roberto Mancini thrived elsewhere, Italian players failed to reach the same heights. The national team lost its philosophy, swagger, and fear factor. Then came Euro 2020, when Roberto Mancini seemingly revived the nation. Italy played with energy, pressing high and controlling possession in a way that felt refreshing and modern. They stormed through the tournament, defeating Belgium, Spain, and England to lift the trophy. It felt like redemption, a return to the glory days. But just 15 months later, the illusion shattered as Italy failed to qualify for the 2022 World Cup, losing to North Macedonia in a shocking playoff defeat. Euro 2020 was revealed as an outlier, not the start of a new era. Today, Italian football remains stuck in limbo. The national team, now rebuilding under new leadership, still suffers from the same core issues: a shallow talent pool, lack of star power, and an identity crisis. Outside of Gianluigi Donnarumma, few Italian players are truly world-class. Inter Milan's run to the Champions League final showed that Italian clubs can still compete, but even they field only a handful of Italian players. Financially, Serie A continues to lag behind, with outdated stadiums and television rights far weaker than the Premier League. Tradition remains, but innovation is sorely lacking. Signs of hope for the future. And yet, there are signs of hope. Italy's under-20 team reached the World Cup final in 2023, showing promise in youth development. Inter's Champions League run also suggested tactical evolution, with Italian clubs adopting more diverse strategies. There are talks of stadium modernization, league reform, and structural changes to attract investment. The foundations of a rebirth exist, but the question remains: will Italy embrace the future or remain trapped in nostalgia? If Italy is to rise again, it must abandon the romantic idea that the old ways are enough. The nation must modernize its football infrastructure, invest in youth, and adopt an identity built not only on defense but on attacking ambition, creativity, and adaptability. Only then can they return to being feared, respected, and admired. Italian football's fall has been slow and painful, but its story is not finished. The road back will be long and difficult, but if Italy remembers its history and embraces change, it can once again reclaim its place at the top of world football.